All right, we made it in. And first vehicle we tried. This is what we're after right here. So that's what we were after right there. I need the pins out of these connectors. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back inside the shop. We're in the second bay right now. We got a crazy day, a few things that are interesting that I want to show you. We're going to show you the Ford Fusion that's in here, get it out, pull in a Nissan Maxima, go talk about a Chevy, possibly go to the junkyard, and then I kind of want to turn this into a little bit of a discussion video, something I was thinking about. Let's look at the Fusion. All right, so 2016 Ford Fusion. This one came in, and the customer's complaint was check engine light was on, there was an issue with the backup sensors system in the vehicle, and then also we did brakes and rotors. Check engine light on the vehicle ended up being an O2 sensor, so we replaced that, and then we found the brakes and we did our test drive inspection. We look at this car though, I don't know how much of this is going to show up on the screen here actually, but see all of these spots here? Those are little blisters, tiny little micro blisters coming up through the paint. You can hear that. It's like sandpaper. There's no clear coat on this hood at all. We follow around back, so I started, doing a little digging. This stuff makes me mad, guys. You can see where there's overspray on this door seal here. One of the issues was this door lock wouldn't work. Well, this doesn't look exactly right. One of the pins was pulled out of the harness, so we took this apart, put that pin in there, got the lock to work. So I don't think this door was originally from this car. We got a big old dent right here. Just stuff like this. You can tell this pillar was repainted in person. So right away I'm getting, the vibe that this thing was piecemealed together. We come back to the back of the vehicle. This isn't even the correct bumper on the car. So what's going on is this vehicle was equipped with backup sensors, and this bumper that they put on obviously did not have them. Let me pop this trunk. There's like body filler here. Let me see if I can shine my light. I know a lot of this isn't going to pop up on the camera, but you look like right there, you can see where there's a bunch of Bondo marks. There's just, this corner is full of Bondo up by the hinge there. Then if you look right here, there's a body clip missing and a little screw just holding, that bumper on. Okay, plot twist, we're not going to get the Nissan in here right now because I think we got an alternator problem. So I'm going to get it in, we'll cut back to it. Alright, so we got the Nissan in here, got the little Jim Foom jump pack, and like I said, as I suspected, well, right now we're hooked up to the old school battery charger, and what I like about this thing is, this thing don't care, you guys. Battery could be deader than a doornail, it's still going to supply voltage. A lot of the new battery tenders, they're too smart, so if this thing is like too low, it won't charge at all. So that's why I keep this old one around. I got it from my old man, who maybe got it from my grandpa. Not real precise, and really all it does is supply power now. The switch is even a little janky, but it works. So to get it in here, just in the time that I started this, let it run to warm up, it was almost completely dead. Battery light was on, so I actually hooked this up, started it again, and then left this hooked up. And don't do that, but that's the only way I could drive it in here. Otherwise, it was basically in limp mode. So I did that. These things get pretty hot real fast. It's still warm, so again, don't recommend doing that, but do what you got to do. So what we're going to do is let this battery charge up for just a little bit, and then we're going to let it run, watch the voltage. You can see the alternator way down in here, and I don't know if she had this replaced before or not. I really can't, I don't know, but we're going to check that. We're also going to do a parasitic drain test because we got some questionable AstroStart wires in there. Clearly we have some sort of a charging problem. We're going to circle back to this one. Right now what I want to do, run over to the other bay and talk about the Chevy pickup. All right, so we got our plugs from the junkyard. Switching gears here on this 96. So there's a TSB. We'll go over and show you what the procedure is here. But this is the rebuilt computer. Issue that we had with the truck is we had an EGR problem. So we tested that. We scrutinized the map sensor, checked the EGR tube, make sure we weren't plugged. Then tested the wire from the plug all the way to the EGR valve. Customer put an EGR in it. The one that was in it was new, so it's like obviously we got something going on. High resistance in the old computer. Well, if you had an early 96, there was actually some some wiring problems. So now when you get this rebuilt computer that doesn't have, the same issues that the other computer had, we have to swap some wires around. So we had to de-pin these. And there's little tiny numbers on here. So like there's an empty hole there. So what we had to do is take these little colored plugs off and remove a couple pins and move them. And I believe we moved from the clear one to this red one here. I don't remember exactly, but we just de-pinned one, took it out, and then put it in the pin that they wanted here. So then after that, what the issue is, they wanted you to make a jumper wire. And I thought, okay, no big deal, we'll do that. You just kind of splice. No. Where the jumper went was a dead hole to another dead hole. So that meant that we needed these specific pins right here. Well, we can't nab any out of here, so I called. There was a harness kit for these. It's actually kind of amazing that this truck was never fixed, because they fixed thousands of these if you look at the procedure. But there was a kit that's obsolete now, and then they were absolutely no help. So I was like, can you direct me to these pins at least? Figure out what kind of pins these are so I can order some. And he said, parts guy at the GM dealer. Well, you're gonna have to do your own research. I have no way of figuring that out. So that led us to the junkyard. So now I'm gonna make 2 of them just in case I mess up, but we're gonna solder a couple of these together so that we have our jumper wire from cable to cable. Let's get rolling. I know the light's bright, can't necessarily see me. I'm just gonna strip a couple of these off. Be careful, this isn't actually a stripper, it's pliers. You can cut too far, cut right through your wire, but just wanna get some of this casing off of here, like that. And then, the part I'm not gonna forget, is sliding my heat shrink over before we twist them together. I guess on this it doesn't matter because I could do it either way. That's kind of, ignore that. So now we're just gonna join these, something like that. Good. So then, oh, there goes one shrink wrap. I heard it hit the ground though. We can use this guy here, plenty long. So something like this, and now we have a pin on one end, pin on the other end, and we can finish this. So now we just got to solder this up. Wish I had my little holder deal, but I don't. So this guy, got to wait for our fancy Milwaukee to heat up a little bit. Light's going to go green, battery's going to die. What's going to happen first? Wonder if it's hot enough now. Nope. Yeah, we got to wait and probably get a new battery. Like I said though, I am going to make 2, so I might as well twist these ones together. Just in case, and then if I don't use it, if we ever do this again, then I have one, even though I have like 27,000 pins now, because I cut all of these off that junkyard harness. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth one's still connected because that's not part of the procedure. Okay, it should be heated up. Oh yeah, we're good to go. Let's see if I can do this. And I feel like everyone kind of solders wrong, and I'm not claiming to be the best at this, but you want to heat the copper wire and then let the solder melt into the wire. I know you can't probably see it, but that's how you want to do it, not jab it on top. It should suck in real nice like that. So there's one. And we're going to make one more, just because we're already here. So let that tip heat up your exposed copper, and then the solder should flow right into it once it's hot enough. Oh man, it's balancing on the... Okay, that's good. Just like that. Shrink wrap will be good to go. This torch is a little overkill, but I don't know where my lighter went. Stay. Okay, so then we'll put this like this. Don't need much. There's one. And where's my other shrink wrap? Good. Let those rest, cool down. So what you're looking at here is the TSB. Pretty simple rewire procedure here. It says to go to the J3, which is the white connector, and it's kind of nice because the connector ends had different colors on them, easy to identify. Because at some point the J3s turned into Cs depending, what GM you were looking at, so it was kind of confusing there in the service manual. But pin 18 comes out and goes into the J1, which is the blue, in pin 23. Then the problem we had is they want that jumper wire, which goes to 2 terminals that don't have any wires in them, which is where we went to the junkyard and made our jumper harness. So now we just have to put our jumper wire between the red connector pin 26 and the white connector pin 18. So then we should be good to go. So here's our jumper wire going from pin 26 on the red connector all the way over to pin 18 on the white connector. So we got this one snapped together. This part is fun, you know, you got to figure out how to get the wires to lay nicely without pinching them inside these. So we're going to button this up, plug it back into the truck, and do a little more digging. Alright, so it's the next day here. We're jumping back into the Nissan. It's morning, we got our coffee. Yeah, the 96 is parked outside. We're waiting on the Tech 2. We got that all wired up, computer back in. And this is, you know, one of the things that, you know, kind of drives you crazy about independent auto repairs. It's like you're constantly all over the place. We're on a Chevy yesterday and a Ford, and now we're at this Nissan, right? We'll talk about this guy. Finally bought one of these Vessel electric ratchets. This guy's the bee's knees. Anyway, so this thing, recap, we were talking about a charging concern. We are going to rip that AstroStart out of there. Had a nice draw from that. We disconnected the brain and a couple other wires, a relay, and we dropped. We still had a little bit of a drop, and I found a cell phone charger plugged in the car. Took that out, then we were at like 11 millivolts, which you want to be, you know, below 50. They say 50 is okay. I still don't like that. It seems like too much. We're getting at this alternator that wasn't charging, and this is a treat. Got the wheel off over here. The tensioner is your old school style tensioner. So you loosen the nut on the pulley, and then, you know, whoever designed this, I'd like to have, you know, words with them. And then it looked in the procedure, it says you're supposed to take the AC compressor off. Well, I don't want to do that. So we got this radiator loose. I'm going to take the fans out. This is just kind of a mess for an alternator that says it pays, you know, 2 hours. So we got the radiator capped off, get the hose off to get these fans out of here. But of course, you know, I had to leak coolant all over my creeper before we did that, so we're gonna keep rolling. So we got the radiator loose. I can wiggle it back and forth. You got these little quick connect bushings for the top, and my hope is now that this is out, you know, if you imagine a line right here in half, we can move the radiator back that far, and I think that should help us to be able to get the fans out. And I'm gonna try to move you to a better spot because I realize you can't see anything that's going on. I think that might be better, maybe, but see, radiator moves now because we got that bushing out of there. Can't see my face, so I don't care. Okay, so we're gonna try to, oh yeah, that, oh. Battery tray, tight fit, harness. Someone has been in here before because this is all banged up, the filler neck. Still got a good couple inches, which is a lot, by the way. So I think we should be fine, but there, now that's opened up quite a bit. Give you a look-see. See, now we got a lot more room. I think we can sneak the alternator out this way versus taking the AC compressor off and dropping it straight down. So it's tight in there. Don't know how much we're going to be able to show you of that, but we're going to try to extract this guy. Got our input and our power disconnected already. There's a bolt down here by this bracket, and then there's one in the back that I think I can access through the wheel well. Alright, so I'm going to do my best here to kind of explain where we're at. We got the Olsa tools, you know, that viral work light up here, and we got the Vessel electric ratchet. So we got some tool talk to do later. This thing's awesome, by the way. But this alternator keeps getting better. So there's the tensioner we had to take out because the bolt for the alternator on the ear was behind that. So we got that tensioner out. Thought that was kind of dumb. But if we look up here, and this is going to be, again, really tough. So this alternator, if you can visualize this, look at where the alternator is, and then behind it there you can see the timing cover. So there's actually two ears on this one. There's an ear on this side, you know, towards the pulley side of the alternator, and there's an ear on the other side, so it sandwiches the front cover. So I got the nut off, and the stud actually has to go out through the back here. I'm going to try to get a pry bar in there and work it the rest of the way back. I know you can't see it, but it's right beneath this piece here, so it'll come in this void. But yeah, you can't just swing it off of there now. A lot of times they'll only have the one ear, but we have to actually completely remove the stud. This keeps getting better. You know, another side note on independent auto repairs, you're constantly doing jobs like this that you've never done before. I'm sure Nissan techs out there would have a different trick to this. Again, they wanted me to take the AC compressor off. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to recharge the system, evac it, all that garbage. So we're not doing this the book way, but I'm sure there is, you know, a different way to do this. But the problem is, you know, let's just flip you around and show you where we're at. So So we got the alternator to right here. This AC line is kind of giving us a few troubles, and the radiator. I kind of thought taking the radiator hose off would help, but the clamp is kind of up against the inner fender there, and you know, you can never stab the right people, you know, so we got to figure out. I'm so close. I think if I get this back down, it's just resting carefully, and we're right on the edge of the casing there, so I think we can get this out this way, get this situated again, get this clamp out of here, try again. My apologies guys, the microphone was turned off. Here's the new alternator. You can see we got it out. All I said was I took the engine cover off because there's just a little bit of a clearance issue with that on there. So as soon as I took that off, I was able to get this alternator out, and it looks like someone's done that before because there's a mark right there. Can you see where it's kind of shiny? That's a mark. So I think someone's done this before. Again, if you're a Nissan tech, you might know a better way to do this, but this is how we're doing it. More than one way to skin a cat. So we're just going to ease this guy back in here. Careful for your filler neck, or careful for the neck on your radiator. It's a tight fit guys, but it does go. Just like that. Now we can fish her over to the side that we need her in. There we go. I know. Recently we took the Acura apart, and now we didn't fix it yet. We're going to do the headlights, the fog lights, the front bumper, the grill. I need the car, so that's what you get to know for now. I need the car. I needed it back together. So now it is back together. As far as the rest of the video goes, the Nissan, we got that one done. We put the alternator in it. And then, of course, we took care of that parasitic drain. We got the Astro Start removed from the vehicle. Any loose ends and wires we had to cut, we shrink wrapped and sealed up. That way there is no possibility of anything backfeeding or drying or arcing, anything like that. So we took care of that. It sat over the weekend. I did go and start it and test drive it today. Everything's working fine. The 96 Chevy. This one really irritates me, but what we figured out is that the computer I was sent, we swap over the little PROM chip that's specific to the vehicle. The computer I was sent was not programmed at all. They flash programmed these things with the Tech 2 on the bench, and that one wasn't programmed. So they sent me another one. It's just been a mess. We ended up having to go with a different brand. So the brand that we got is insured to be flash programmed before they send them out. So that's about 3 days away still. So I didn't want to wait, 3-4 days to get this thing out. The truck runs well. The issue we're having is the VCM controls the shifting of the vehicle, and right now it won't kick down. It won't downshift at all. Runs great. EGR problem is solved, but will not shift. So again, wasn't going to wait 4 days to get that together. Acura is good, ready to go. Glad to be able to have that car back again. Kind of a chaotic video, you guys. I understand that. Things didn't go exactly the way that I had planned. I feel like I'm getting behind. I like to do a video every week, and it's been like every week and a half or so. Speaking of being behind, the merch line for the 10,000 subscribers is still not back yet. I'm behind on that as well. We've just had a lot of stuff going on in here, which is good. That means business is good, but bear with me. I'm going to try to get caught back up and get back on our normal schedule. If you guys enjoyed today's video, drop me a comment down below. Like and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.